Good morning, Booktube. This is Caitlin Bandy, and I'm here for reading sprints. I'm just finishing bottle feeding this little one here. So give me just a minute, and we will get the sprinting started. This one seems particularly hungry this morning, so there is the current situation. She's kind of also teething, so she wants to just like chew on the bottle sometimes instead of actually drinking it. So reading sprints this morning. I have 2 books to work on. Are we done? Oh, you have a milk mustache. There is a milk mustache on this little one. Everybody see the milk mustache? All right, I'm going to grab a towel real quick to clean her up, and then we will get started. Give me just a moment. Okay. Kitty has been fed. She's had plenty of milk, so she should knock out here in just a minute. No more milk mustache. Let's see. Alrighty, so 9 a.m. Been doing these reading sprints. Usually I do them for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, just depending on how many people are around. And so we'll see how it goes. So let me just get this kitty situated, and then we can talk books. All right, so my options for this morning are The Gin Daughter by Rania Hanna. This is a book that I've been reading. I started it during reading sprints last week, and I read a good chunk of it last night, so I'm about halfway through. I will probably work on this for part of the reading sprints. And then I want to get into Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin. This is a book I've been meaning to read for a while now, and I'm excited to start it. It is blurbed by some fantastic authors on the front. So I think I'll probably start with The Gin Daughter. And I have a nice hot tea this morning, doing some English breakfast with sugar and cream. So hopefully everybody has books ready. And if you're popping in, feel free to drop a comment in the chat box. Say hello. Let me know what you're going to be reading for our sprints. And we can go ahead and get started here in just a minute. Okay. Kitty in the lap. Luna's over here guarding the chair. It's her role lately. She wants to be close by with me and Kitty, but not necessarily right there. This is kind of their preferred distance. Kitty here, Luna there. They're doing real well together. Got kind of a crack of light over my face. Where is that coming from? I think that comes from behind me. Should pass soon. Hey, good morning, Mark. How are you doing today? Or I guess good evening for you, because you're on UK time. So you're 8 hours ahead? So early evening over there? What are the technical difficulties? Do you mean on my end or on the end of finding the video? So just getting set it up here. Kitty was really hungry this morning, so she took a little bit of extra time bottle feeding. So it took me a minute to get the video posted. But yeah, so I'm all set up now. I have 2 options. I've been reading The Gin Daughter. I'm about halfway through it. So I'm probably going to continue with this for the beginning of the morning. And then I have Manhunt, which is one of my books for Pride Month. So I'm hoping to maybe start that today as well. Pretty good. Thanks. 6 p.m. in Czech Republic. How are you and the animals? We're doing good. I got to get out a little bit this weekend for the first time in like a month, so that was nice. Nice to kind of just get to do some normal things. Kit Kat is doing good. She was just fed, so she should be knocking out here in just a minute. I was bottle feeding her, and so the video is running just a little bit late. But she's all fat and sleepy now, so she should be knocking out pretty soon. And then Lou is hanging out down there by the chair, keeping guard. So everybody's doing good. Alrighty. Well, it's not showing on TV, but I've got it on my phone. Huh, that's strange. I wonder why. I have no idea. Maybe if you like turn off the TV and restart the YouTube app, maybe it'll pop up. Let's see. Gosh, I can see she's grown even in the space of a week. Yeah, so with the kittens, the growth progression in the first 8 weeks is really, really rapid. I previously had bottle fed a kitten like around 6 weeks. And so seeing the difference just in 6 to 8 weeks is pretty remarkable. But this one was, we think, about 2.5 weeks when we got her. So from that 2-week threshold all the way up to 8 weeks, they grow really, really fast. When we first got her, she fit like in the palm of my hand. And now, as you can see, she's overflowing my hand, which is a good sign. That means that, she's doing well. Obviously, growth is important. So you're going to be reading Shutter and Iron Dad. Okay, sounds good. Well, I guess I will set up this timer for our first reading sprint. I think everybody should settle in here into place once I get going. Let's see. Alarm, timer, 15 minutes. Oh, and Mark, I when I said UK time, I just meant like I think you guys are on the UK same time as the UK, right? Or within an hour of them. So I know that the UK time is about an 8-hour gap from the United States where I'm at. And so that's why I was saying I know that you're in the Czech Republic, but just dropping in on my lunch break. I'm reading Tress of the Emerald Seas. Well, hello, and thank you for dropping in. How are you liking Tress so far? That's a book that I've been wanting to read for quite a while. An hour ahead. Yeah, so that's the easiest way for me to like calculate it is because I know exactly what that time period is. And then like, just like here in the States, most people will go by EST time for Eastern Standard Time. And then we're all within 3 or 4 hours of EST. So that's what I was trying to say. Alrighty, so got a timer set up for 15 minutes. I hope everybody has a drink handy, a book ready, whatever you need to be comfortable. And hopefully this kitten will settle down here in a minute. Let's see. I don't normally read fantasy, but I'm liking this one so far, only about 50 pages in. So I haven't read anything by Brandon Sanderson, despite really loving fantasy. And I've been meaning to read some of his books for quite a long time, but his series are so big. So I feel like it's a huge investment to like get involved in one of his series. And so I've considered starting with Tress, but I also hear that that's like drastically different than his normal writing. So we'll see. Definitely interested in checking it out. I've been hearing pretty good things about it. So I think I'm going to adjust some lights real quick. Just 1 second. All right, maybe that's a little bit better. Okay, so go ahead and start that 15-minute timer, and I will see everyone in 15 minutes. And if you're just popping in the meantime, feel free to say hello in the chat box. Let us know what you're going to be reading, what your goals are. If you're doing productivity instead of reading, that's fine too. Nap time, all of it's welcome. All right, so there is our first 15 minutes. Let me know how you did. I made it about 10 pages, so I'm on page 123. Story's moving along pretty well. I think last week, if you were around, I was reading this book and I was a little concerned because the narrative structure was a little bit chaotic. I had like so many different stories that were kind of all starting at the same time, and it was hard to figure out where the book was going. But now that I'm about halfway into the book, it's kind of narrowed its focus. So I'm glad that it is starting to streamline a little bit. And I was going to show you this. I found this. I had a friend that made me these cool bookmarks with my channel name on them a while back. And so I was organizing like all my bookmarks and my bookish stickers and stuff and happened to find those. So I thought that was kind of cool. How's everyone doing with their reading? Anything exciting? Do you make a good amount of pages? Anything that you want to share? Feel free to pop it in the chat box. Kitten decided that she does not want to sleep, but she is sitting nicely. So she'll just keep hanging out. Oh, too much going on for you to sleep? Meow. I hear you. Luna, on the other hand, has knocked out in her bed over there. Oh, she heard me and then raised her head. She's like, I'm exhausted with all this kitten nonsense. So, all right. Well, I will go ahead and set up this next 15 minutes. And then we can just jump right into that. All right. Check back in 15. Okay. There is the end of our second reading sprint. So I made it to page 141, and I think I'm going to take a break from this book now and pop into my other book just because I feel like I want something a little bit faster paced this morning. So my mom said I made good progress. I'm reading to page 187 for buddy read before switching to Iron Dad. Awesome. And Michelle said, got about 3 chapters read. My brain doesn't follow fantastical elements well. I'm enjoying the storyline, but some of the world building is going over my head. I get that. When I first started reading fantasy, it kind of took me a while as well to get used to like taking in all the world building at the beginning of the stories, especially. Hey, Melinda, good morning. How are you doing today? Yeah, the fantasy worlds can get a little bit tiring. Sometimes for me, it helps if I'm reading like 2 different books. So I'll do one fantasy and then one something else. So that way I can kind of bounce back and forth. If I'm finding the world building a little too heavy in the fantasy book, then I can switch to something that's a little bit easier. Man, this light is driving me crazy with all these stripes all over the place. It's 104 degrees today outside. I had to walk Luna this morning, so I'm finally cleared to start walking more, like more than just walking around the house and doing a little bit of yoga. So I took Luna out for a walk this morning, and it is just miserable. I was like, why did I want to walk outside in Vegas in the heat? But it felt good to get up and stretch my legs a bit. So I think at this point I'm going to switch over to Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin. This is supposed to be kind of a horror book. Dystopian. Yikes, it's going to be 80 here, and that is hot enough for me. I totally agree. Yesterday, we took a little trip up to the mountains outside of Vegas, and it's usually about 30 degrees cooler, 20 degrees cooler in the mountains. So it was like a nice, pleasant 75 degrees up there. And it was so just refreshing to be outside and not feel like you're like cooking in an oven. Let me grab a bookmark for this book. Oh, I guess I won't grab a bookmark. Kitten fell asleep finally. She's knocked out face down. So now both pets are asleep finally. All right. What are you reading today, Melinda? Got anything exciting? Ugh, I don't know what it is about this cover of this book. So this is like a mesh bag, and then there's 2 blueberries, and there is a bite taken out of this blueberry. And for some reason, it just grosses me out so much. Yeah, we're in the 90s in Atlanta, and the humidity is pretty equal. Yuck. Yes, I have been in the South in the summer. It's not my favorite. I would take the dry Vegas heat over the humid heat anyways, or any day. But it's pretty miserable either way. I just started Know My Name by Chanel Miller, so a nice, light, happy read. Oh, that is a tough read. So well written and really important and moving. And I don't think that like you'll read it and leave it feeling, how do I want to put it? It's heavy and it's angering and it's frustrating and infuriating, but it's not, I don't know, the way that she writes it makes it very approachable and easy to take in. I didn't feel like exhausted from it. I just felt like feminine rage after reading it, if that makes sense. So hopefully you have a good experience with it. I feel like most women that I know that have read that book really relate to it, at least in some minor aspect. Chanel Miller is such a fantastic writer. So I think that you'll probably, I don't want to say enjoy because of the topic, but you'll probably get a lot out of reading that book. Let's see if I can reach. I'm trying to reach a bookmark so I don't have to disturb the kitten. It is incredibly readable. I'm only about 40 pages in so far, and it is engrossing. Yeah, I tore through it when I was reading it last month. I ended up picking it up and finishing it basically in 2 days because I just was so invested in everything she was going through. Probably would have been better if I had actually paced myself a bit because I do think I binged that one, and then I binged Unbound by Tarana Burke, and then Tell Me Everything by Erica Krause, like back to back. And then I hit Between Two Kingdoms by Sulika Jawad. And so 3 of those books have the same themes. And then Sulika Jawad's book was about chronic illness and recovery after chronic illness. So it was like a really heavy week of reading, I feel like. But all of them are really, really excellent books. All right, so all organized. I'm going to go ahead and set us a 15-minute timer, and I will see you all in 15 minutes. Hello. Would you like to come up? Come on up. Gentle, gentle. Careful with the kitty. Watch the kitty. Oh. Are you okay? Okay. There you go. Now everybody is in the picture. It's okay. Gentle. There you go. Okay, it's okay. Lay down. Come on, lay down. Lay down. Okay. Ooh, it's okay. Stop. The kitty's not hurting you. You can lay down. The kitty's not gonna hurt you. Ooh, it's okay. It's okay. Kitty's not gonna hurt you. Lou, come here. Sit down. Right, there is our next 15 minutes. We just mark my book. Popping in to say hi. First time I've ever gotten the timing right to catch a live. Laugh out loud. Thank you for joining us. Yoga sounds so nice. It was nice. To be able to stretch and move a little bit is, I think, like, we take for granted the ability to move and stretch and do things, and then, like, when you don't have it for a while, you finally get to do it again, and kind of makes you appreciate it. I've been on vacay and out of my workout routine, struggling to get back into my reading routine as well. Well, we are here with reading sprints to help. You are indeed in Atlanta. Michelle posted that up a ways that she's in Atlanta too. I believe maybe you guys should connect. Always good to have bookish friends in the city that you're in. So I read about the first 11 pages of Manhunt, and this is very interesting. Yeah, we read Know My Name for a book club, and we all loved it. Yeah, I think it's a hard book to not love, or at least respect, just because of what it talks about and how eloquently Chanel Miller discusses it. but it's definitely one of those books that's not a pleasant read, obviously, due to the subject matter. I found it to be really infuriating and frustrating because just of all of the it's not just the crime that occurs to Chanel, but also the things that she has to go through after it that are just unbelievably frustrating. I'm reading Know My Name as a buddy read, and I'm glad I have someone to talk to about while I go through it. I'm thinking reading it on my own might be even harder. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like for me personally, I didn't necessarily want to discuss it when I was reading it, just because, like, what is there to discuss, really? It's like stuff that I think most women deal with or have experienced to some degree. Let me fix this camera a little bit. And so I just feel like I would get madder and madder, like continually discussing it. So I just read it and then gave myself time to really think about it. But yeah, I could see also the opposite end, how having someone to talk to about it would help you organize your thoughts and maybe vent some of that frustration out and things. It's definitely one of those books where I feel like there's like no wrong way to read it and approach it. Like whatever is going to make it a more comfortable read for you is the important part. Kitty knocked out again. She's passed out in kitty burrito form. All right, so Manhunt, 10 pages in. This is going to be a wild ride, I think. So it sounds like there is a apocalypse in the United States, and there's some sort of plague that is occurring that affects people with testosterone. And so basically all of the men have turned into zombies, and the women and the trans women are left. And so our two main characters are trans, and they're basically talking about at the beginning of the book that as long as they don't run out of their hormones, they'll be safe. And then they run into a group of TERFs, which, if you're not familiar with the term TERFs, stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. So these are the type of feminists that do not support trans women and do not believe that trans women should be included in feminism. And so far in the book, they have killed a man because he has the plague, and the plague makes the men violent and makes them attack any women. So they've killed a man, and then they've attacked a group of TERFs, and then the attack didn't go so well. And so now these two trans women are fleeing through the forest with a group of TERFs hot on their heels. It's one of those things where I know that it wasn't meant to be funny, but there's like bits of humor, I think, in here, like the way that the characters are talking about things made it a little bit humorous. But I think this is going to be a really bloody, violent book, it seems like. And I'm curious to see where this plague scenario goes, because the way that they describe this plague was pretty interesting. The concept of it specifically affecting people that have higher levels of testosterone was pretty interesting. I think I saw something that was kind of similar in Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. So I'm curious to see how Volker Martin approaches that subject here. She's so adorable. Yes, she really is. She's kind of a pain sometimes because kittens are kind of a pain. They're needy and, they're a lot of work. And I keep saying that it's really lucky that she's so cute. But yeah, overall, she's really a good kitten. Okay, so all set another 15 minutes. And then hopefully we can all keep making progress on our reads. See you in 15 minutes. Oops. Bye, Michelle. Thanks for joining. All right, we have hit the end of our 15-minute session. I made it another 10 pages. This book is definitely going to be a wild ride. So catching up, Michelle took off. Had to go back to work. And Melinda took off. She had to go help her husband with something. Definitely always good to take a break when you're reading really heavy books, I think. I'm obsessed with that kitten. I am too. She's really cute. Let me see if I can get a good image of her. Can you see her little face now? She's pretty knocked out. Right before I started the reading sprint, I fed her like a whole bottle of milk, so she's pretty milk drunk at the moment. I foo. I think we're missing part of that message there. I'm thinking that was supposed to be me too, maybe. Yeah, she's pretty cute. She is starting to get more curious and adventurous, and really has started like playing more, which is kind of cute. So she's learning how to pounce right now. You know how cats like to like chase things and pounce on them. So she does this thing where she like backs all the way up into a corner and she gets down like this, and then she takes like a leap forward as hard as that she can leap, but it really only ends up like that she leaps like maybe a couple of inches. She's still learning how to jump, and so it's kind of funny. Yeah, it's been a joy getting to bottle feed this little kitty. I hadn't heard of Manhunt, but that sounds like a wild premise. I'm interested to see what you rate it. I think that this is going to be similar to like Hell Followed With Us or Spirit Bears Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. When I have read trans horror previously, in the occasions that I have read it, it seems to be very visceral and gory, and there's a lot of like body horror involved. So far, that seems to be the case with this book as well. In the last 10 pages, they escaped the Thurs, the roving band of Thurs. So basically what it sounds like from the little bit of reading that I've done so far in this book is that the plague is affecting men or people that have high enough levels of testosterone. And then there is a backlash in society where people are blaming transgendered individuals for this plague somehow. Now, I'm not far enough in the book to have received much explanation on it. It's just something that the TERFs that were chasing these trans women yelled at them. And the TERFs are identifiable because they've tattooed large X's across their forehead, as in like the chromosomes. And they're like all carrying crossbows. And these two trans women are talking about as the hormone, like the hormones that they had been using were running out, what they've been doing naturally to supplement for that, and all sorts of really interesting things. And I'm only like 20 pages in, so it's like a lot of world building and setup. And I expect probably another 30 or 40 pages of world building and setup before we really start to like get into the meat of the plot. It looks like the book is set up into 3 acts as well, or parts. So I noticed that there was like a black page every so often, and that's the start of each of the parts. It's a really interesting concept. The writing is very like action-y. It kind of feels like a Quentin Tarantino movie a little bit. I guess that's the vibe that it has so far. I read to 187 of Shudder and then switched to Iron Dad. Can't wait to meet Domino. Yeah, so next week I'm going home to San Diego for my birthday. And so I'll be spending the whole week at home. And so Luna and Domino are going to drive home with me. And then Oz will fly down on the weekend because he has to work next week. So my parents will get to meet Domino for the first time. And Domino will get to meet their cats. My parents have 2 cats. They have Stormy and Spike. And Stormy and Spike are probably a year old now, a year and a half maybe. And so this will be Domino's first experience with other cats. We'll see how that goes. Right now you can see the bottom of her paw. Let me see if I can show this on the screen. The little toe beans are so cute. She has the little toes twitching away. It's in kitty cat dreamland. So, I think I have time to do, it's 10:30. I have time to do one more sprint for 15 minutes, and then I need to get to work on some things here. I have to get dinner cooked or prepped early because I have to take Luna to the vet this afternoon. She has some stitches in her ears. She had a cyst that she had to have removed, and so they're supposed to take the stitches out this afternoon. So I just want to get some stuff set up and taken care of before I have to take her for that. She'll get to meet her dogs too. Yeah, I'm not too worried about the dogs. She's doing really good with Luna, and I think she'll probably do fine with Tater and Elvis. Probably, if anything, maybe Tater will bark at her because he'll be like, "What is that?" It'll be nice for Tater. It'll be the first time that he'll be not the smallest animal in the house. So, all right, let me set up this last 15-minute sprint, and hopefully everyone will make some more progress, and then we can all go about our days. So I will see you all in 15 minutes. are you trying to go? Where are you trying to go? And there is our last 15 minutes. So I made it to page 27 of Manhunt. And this last few pages that I read in this book was basically focused on surgery, because when our characters were running from the Thurs, one of them got shot with an arrow through the cheek. And so there was some stitches needed and a tooth extraction. I definitely think this book is going to be kind of gory. And little kitten has woken up and is demanding attention. She's doing her climbing and exploring. Oh, sweetheart. Cats are my favorite. I like cats too. I like both cats and dogs equally, honestly. I grew up with both, so I enjoy them for different reasons. It is hard not to like a sweet little face like that, you know? How can you say no? Oh, you're just too cute. So I hope everybody made some good progress in their books. Let me know in the comments if you did, if you made it to where you were hoping to make it. And my next reading sprint will be Friday this week at 2 p.m. So I'm doing Fridays at 2 p.m. through the end of June. And then when I go back to work in July, I will probably switch to Thursdays later in the evening, like maybe 6 or 7 p.m. But we will see when we get there. What are you doing? What are you doing? You gonna climb up? Let's climb up. You know how? Oh, you're gonna climb down instead? Okay. Hard to resist. Good progress. Good. You're fostering or keeping her? I'm just fostering her. I honestly would probably keep her, but we live in a 1-bedroom apartment, so we already have kind of the space pretty maximized with 2 of us living here plus Luna. And yeah, I mean, if I was living on my own, I probably would keep her. But Oz is just like, it's way too small for a cat, and a litter box. We don't really have anywhere to put it that would not be in like a main living area. So I have a good friend whose son and girlfriend are looking for a kitten. They both have had cats before. He actually used to take care of my cats when I was on vacation as a kid. So I know that he does really, really well with them. And so they came by last Monday to meet her. And that went really well. They're super good with her. She crawled all over them. And they got to know each other a little bit. They showed up with a whole bunch of stuff for her. So she is going to stay with us through the end of June, probably. My goal is to get her completely weaned off the bottle and litter trained. So that way when she goes to them, she'll already be, pretty easy to manage. That was the only thing, is that neither of them had experience with like neonatal kittens. So I just wanted to get her to a point where she's much more stable. At this age, kittens are really fragile and they can kind of like go downhill really, really fast if you don't know what you're doing. So it just seemed like it would be the easier situation, since I'm at home right now, not doing anything, if I kept bottle feeding her and taking care of her. And then when she's weaned and litter trained, she'll be ready to go to her new home. It'd be sad to lose her because she's really cute and we're very attached, but I'm reassured in knowing the people that she's going to and knowing that she'll be really well taken care of. So, and then someday down the road when we have a full-size house, then we'll consider getting a kitten of our own, or maybe rescuing another kitten. The shelters here in Vegas are always packed with kittens, honestly, which is why we ended up keeping this one, because the shelters won't take stray kittens at all because they have such an inundation. Las Vegas in general has a really bad problem with feral cats. People move here for short periods of time. They bring their cats, and then unfortunately they move somewhere else and they just let their cats go out in the streets. And so we have a large feral cat population. Just in our apartment alone, I think we have like 30 or 40 feral cats. And of course, they're not spayed and neutered and vaccinated, and so they continue to breed. And that's what ended up happening here. This is the kitten of two of the feral cats that live out here, and she got stuck in the hood of a car, and we rescued her. And so the good news is she won't be a feral cat, and the people that are taking her have my one requirement for taking her was that they make sure she get vaccinated and spayed. So they're going to be taking care of that as soon as she's old enough, and it'll be one less feral cat to keep having babies unchecked on the street. So when Oz and I finally have a house and the space to have a cat, we'll probably either adopt another feral kitten like this, or we'll go to the shelter and see if there's some young kittens to rescue. Okay. Let's see. That's amazing. We love to foster someday. I'm loving following your journey with that. Honestly, it's really nice to foster kittens, but they're a lot of work. It is, depending on how old they are, obviously, but if you get like a 2 or 3 week old kitten, you have to expect to be getting up every 3 to 4 hours to bottle feed, and they cannot go to the bathroom on their own. So you have to do stimulation to get them to go to the bathroom. And then around week 4, they start to be able to eat wet food, and they start to be able to start learning how to use the litter box, because they're now at that point where they're starting to be able to go to the bathroom. But it's also like a process, because the wet food is new to them. They don't really want to eat it very much. So you have to mix it in their bottle and feed them, and then sit there and try to like manually force them to eat food. And then the litter box thing, they pick that up pretty quickly. Like she's already starting to use it on her own. They have little accidents because they're kittens and they're still learning. So it is, I would say like from 2 weeks to about 6 weeks, a lot of work. After you pass 6 weeks, then they're starting to like get completely off the bottle. They're eating more wet food, and you can start introducing kibble. They should be using the litter box pretty confidently, and they're getting bigger, so they're able to like move around. But like even just like letting her move around, I kind of have to keep watching her because she's so small. If I put her on the couch and she jumps off the couch, she could hurt herself. So you kind of have to be, it's very, that neonatal kitten care is very, very involved. I would love to foster kittens, but I think my cat would eat them. You'd be surprised. I think it's one of those things where when you first bring like a new kitten home, no matter how old it is, you want to keep them separated. And then you just take like a towel from each animal or a toy or something that smells like each animal, and you interchange them. So they get used to each other's smells. And then you just slowly introduce them over a period of time. I think the mistake that a lot of times gets made is that people just throw the cats in together. And I mean, it can work sometimes, but if there is like hostility or aggression on the part of one cat, then it's better to take it slower and keep them separated for a while. Oh, wow. What a story about that baby. She's lucky to have you guys. It just seemed like it was destiny. If this had happened at any other time, I wouldn't have been able to take her because I work during the day and I work long hours. So there would have been no one at home to feed her during the day. So it just kind of seemed like it was destiny. We happened to come home. We heard her crying in our neighbor's car engine. Our neighbor happened to be home, so we got her to open up her car. We were able to rescue the kitty. And then, like I said, it's just this 2-month period of time where I'm home doing nothing. So I was able to do it. I struggle so hard to say no every time I see kittens in the shelter. Me too. I actually avoid the shelter for that reason. Unless I'm going to go get an animal, I just don't go because you want to save all the animals. And at least if you're able to save one, it's like you can leave without feeling so sad. But just to like go and look at the animals and all that, it makes me feel really sad. Our shelter here, we don't have a ton of shelters in Vegas. So our main shelter, the Animal Foundation, the last post I saw, they had like 640 animals. They were almost at maximum capacity. And I really want to get another dog for Luna as well. But same thing, small apartment. So not anytime soon. My cat is very territorial and can be aggressive, probably because she wasn't fostered as a kitten. Yeah, so there's this thing with single kittens. One of the things that we're working on with this one, so typically kittens grow up with other kittens around them, and they learn to play together and everything. And so, like, when they're being aggressive or biting or doing things, the other kittens in the group will correct them, or the mama cat will correct them. But when you have a single abandoned kitten like this, they're not socialized in the way that kittens are normally socialized. And so it's really common for kittens that are single, solitary kittens to have behavioral issues. And so with this one, that's why she's always out with me, is because we're trying to work on socializing her, especially obviously with humans, since she'll be living with humans. But we do a lot of playing. I try my best to mimic the way that cats play with each other. And then, like, correct her when she's getting too aggressive. And, I have her around Luna as well. So she's at least getting another animal and stimulation and stuff. And Oz handles her a lot as well. So, that's the best she can do in this situation. So hopefully all will work out well. Part of me would like to try it in case it might mellow my cat, but I think it might be too much of a risk. Yeah, again, if you were going to try it, you want to just go really, really slowly in that case. Start by having them in separate rooms and just exchanging things that smell like each other. Then you can let them like sniff the door, under the door at each other. And then, after weeks of doing that, then you would start to like maybe let them be in the same room together, but always supervised, of course. And then after they're at a point where they're comfortable in the same room together, then, when you feel comfortable, then you can start letting them hang out. I have to walk past the shelter place to get pet supplies for my 2 current cats. Ugh. I mean, that's a smart move on the part of the shelter to be next to the pet store, because you're going to make pet lovers walk past you regularly. So maybe they get some adoptions out of that. But yeah, I could see how that would be heartbreaking. This one is currently crawling around. Sorry, I was trying to catch it. She was on her back, like showing her belly and pawing at the air and stuff. But now she's just decided she doesn't want to cooperate with the camera. But this is pretty much what our day looks like now. She just crawls around and explores things. Meows at me for food. Ugh. Anyways, so I have made good progress on both of my books. I think I've gotten probably another 40 pages done on the Gin Daughter and about 30 pages on Manhunt. So I'm happy with that. Solid reading for the day. Let's see. I can't believe how many, how tiny they are at that age. You know what? She's actually grown a lot. So I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but she's basically overflowing my hand now. When I first got her, she could fit like right here. So she is growing really well. I want to say probably at this point that she weighs about a pound, maybe slightly over a pound. And when we first got her, she definitely was not even a full pound. Looks like somebody might need to use the restroom. Alrighty. Well, that's my cue. I got to take this one over to her litter box and make sure that she goes to potty so we don't have any accidents. Hopefully everybody had a good reading morning, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining. And if you're interested, I will be around at Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the next reading sprint. Bye. Good to see you. Take care.